I
Here I
lost
am.
you,
You can
John.
still hear
Oh,
me.
there you are. There you are.
Yes. All right.
Nerd Reactor, roll out.
Frank, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Yeah. So you're the action man. So many action movies, and here you're dealing with werewolves. And like I was watching it at the very beginning, you're like super fit. So I'm like, all right, we're in for a wild ride. You're gonna be kicking ass. And so, what was the when you're reading the script, seeing that, like, all right, I'm gonna set the tone by just looking like I'm gonna beat everybody up, but then also taking care of people.
Yeah, and I had come off a movie where I was, and I'm always kind of in the same shape, but I was very fit, and which was good because I had to take my shirt off, and at my age, you never know. But it was a very physical movie, and I needed to be. Forget about how I looked. I needed to be in shape because there was a lot of physicality, and that's what I love. I love doing movies like this. I really do, and it's my thing. I feel most comfortable doing it, and I know that when I execute roles like this, I know it'll be good. I know what to do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and because you've been in the Purge, and then with the whole thing about like the one night only,
Right.
all hell breaks loose, right? And so instead of like just crazy people trying to kill each other, here is werewolves. So what was the
Trying to kill
differences?
crazy people. Yeah, I mean, when I
Yeah.
first read it, I said this is Purge Anarchy with werewolves, and that's how I describe the movie to people. I keep saying it, like said it all day today. It's like it's Purge Anarchy meets werewolves, only it's more exciting than Purge Anarchy because it's got werewolves. It's simple.
Yeah, and with this movie, because there's something that happens at the end, so it's kind of like,
Yeah,
for me, I feel like, man, oh, we're going there,
yeah.
and so, what was that like in terms of just the preparation, or just feeling like, all right, this is going even the more supernatural route?
Yeah, I mean, it was, for me, when that happens at the end, I think sequel. I think maybe two sequels or three sequels because now it's an interesting way to tell the story because now you have to figure out what I am without giving too much away. So yeah, to me that was another element that made me sign on to the movie is I liked the way it ended.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I think if you were able to choose to be in two different worlds of, let's say, werewolves or the Purge in real life, which one would you choose?
Probably not werewolves, man. I don't want to be dealing with 7 foot things with big teeth. Like, there's nowhere to go. I mean, if they, you know what I mean? Against
Yeah.
humans, I got a shot. Against these things, I'm in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with this movie, there's a touch of like humanity with your character, and I think I like that, like strictly compared to, let's say, one-dimensional characters.
Yeah.
But then also you have upcoming projects because we're Nerd Reactor, so we're gonna be excited about your stuff with the DC Superman stuff. So I feel like these characters you're playing, there's like depth to them. So how do you feel about the just
Yeah.
playing those type of
And
characters?
that's another thing. I'm not interested in doing things like I don't want to be one dimensional ever. That's a fear of mine. And so if the story doesn't have heart, if there's not a real story inside the world, then I'm not interested in it because that's the heartbeat of the film is me and my family and having to save my family and make sure that my brother's gone and this is my responsibility. And that's what you connect to. Like that's what human beings connect to. The rest of it's fun, but we need something to connect to, and that's the heart of it. And it's the same thing in the other stuff that I'm doing. It's all steeped in reality and in real circumstance emotionally.
Yo, John, what's up, man?
Good, good. Yeah. So werewolves, the concept, like we're in the year two, right? With
Yeah.
the supermoon. And so what is it about this supermoon, werewolves? How did that excite you?
Well, I mean, because you said it. Like, I hadn't seen a movie where werewolves themselves were sort of taking over the world. Obviously, we've gotten the zombie taking over. We've got a lot of like other viruses happening. But for me, when I read the idea that maybe this could be a werewolf almost pandemic, that was something that sort of hit home to me. And felt like this could be a really fun story to tell.
Yeah, and what I really liked about this is the practical effects for the werewolves, getting to see them, and also the different personalities in terms of like how they look or what they're wearing, like maybe like a vest. And so, what was the creative mindset of that? Getting to just create the werewolves and bringing them to life.
Yeah, you just want to try to make them as unique as possible. And it felt like giving them each personality made them super unique and trying to keep it kind of wild because I knew the movie was kind of bonkers and was going to be fun. And I felt like we could infuse that into the wolf's personalities and that would make the movie even more bonkers. So that was something we were doing from the very beginning.
Yeah, and so this is action is horror, right? So I don't know if there was like a balance in you trying to make the werewolves as scary or just make them feel like just these giant beasts.
Yeah, I was really just trying to make them feel brooding, intense, scary to a degree, right? But also, I wanted to lean more into the action. And I knew we were going to have to show them a lot more than you would in your typical horror film. So, really, was leaning more into brooding and intense more than completely scary.
Yeah, and when working on this movie, did you have Frank Grillo in mind as the main protagonist?
Oh yeah, from day one. I knew Frank was the guy that was going to do this. I knew he was going to be able to one to come in and really take control, have fun on set, really enjoy the werewolves. I mean, he was working with me with the werewolves from day one, so he was there from the start. He's just one of those guys I knew would crush this.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's had experience with like just being an action hero and also uh being okay, for example, the Purge, right? He was in like the Purge series. So it's the whole thing of just chaos happening for one night only. And so I feel like he's at ease. And so what was it like directing like the action sequences just like from the sets to just the transformations?
Oh man, it's a lot of fun because you have all of these things that you normally do on an action movie, but now you're adding werewolves in the mix, and these guys are really there. They're really on set, and so to have all of them trying to play together with the pyrotechnics that are going off, or the guns firing going off on top of having Frank there. I mean, it's just one of those things that you sort of dream of as a kid, and to be able to do it was pretty cool.
And there is like a just the sense of different worlds out there, like for that one night, and especially different. I'm not sure if it's a spoiler. I'm not, but there are like other groups of people out there, and just kind of like just bringing life to this world of werewolves and people being prepared. So what was that like? Just doing the whole world building.
Well, I mean, the idea for world building was already always in the script, and I think that's something for me that really attracted me to it was to be able to have something where the audience could go into it and know there's a bigger world underneath, and that we weren't really going to touch on completely. We wanted to let that sort of play out as the audience was watching it, and kind of hopefully they would want to come back for more, and save the rest for more movies.
Yeah. And because your background, because you've done horror, you've done action, so this is like a blend of both. So how exciting was that for you? Like, oh yeah, I really get to like just blend the things that I've worked on before and create this final product.
Yeah, I think that's something I've been working for, and working to really is like I knew I loved horror. I started there. I got a really great chance to dabble in action for a few years. So it was really important to me to get back to my roots and do some horror, but I really wanted to infuse it with action, and this was the perfect blend.
Yeah. And after this, I don't know if you have like other ideas of just mixing genres, like maybe a rom-com action, rom-com horror, or something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, the next one I'm finishing up right now is more of an action comedy, and so I
Yeah.
love sort of mixing genres. It's really fun for me to do.
Yeah. And for just I don't know what the challenge is like. What was the most challenging part of working on this movie for you? Like whether it's like maybe this one day where it's like, oh, we have to like try to finish all this between this and this time.
I mean, the most challenging really is when all of the werewolves are on set together, and trying to get them to function together because you have so many different moving parts happening, whether it's the werewolves, how they're walking, the animatronic guys, and how they're moving their mouths. And then you're asking them to knock over fences and barrel towards a house. I think that kind of a moment for me was really intense. It's difficult for everybody, but it was so much fun to shoot.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're the type of director that wants to get a feel for how things work. Like, let's say you want to try putting on the werewolf outfit. Uh, but I want to know, like, what was that process like of the creation of the werewolves in terms of the like the animatronics and just the motors and making them just
Oh yeah, I'm
move
totally.
around.
I was definitely in the shop with Alec Gillis from day one as they were creating things. I didn't put on the suit, But I was definitely involved from day one, very hands-on. I loved all the work Alec was doing. I really tried to give him a lot of creative control because I loved his ideas. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun to create them from the start.
Yeah. And another thing I enjoyed is just how the characters, like when they're in combat mode. So have you done the action stuff, movies before? So how does that have prepared you for doing the actions here? Like, all right, now I know, like, just making sure it looks good.
Well, I think that's important because I know how to make the action work. So I was able to actually spend more time with how the werewolves looked. And so I wasn't worried about both, which, really was something that really helped me. So I was really lucky enough to have that action experience. So coming into this with werewolves, it just made it a little bit easier because then I was really more focused on the werewolf stuff. The action stuff I already had down pat.
Yeah. And I don't know if what was the training regiment like for like the actors, training to do that.
I mean, I don't know that Frank ever stops training. Frank is jacked. That guy, he is in shape. He looks phenomenal. He's always looking like that. He was already in tip-top shape before he got there. But I'm sure his regiment was pretty intense. No way I was keeping up with that. But all of my actors and actresses in general really worked very hard to get in shape for the movie, to be ready for the physical aspects of the movie. I would even say the werewolf performers had to do a lot of physical activity beforehand and getting there, and a lot of motion work and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see all of that.